Good evening, guys. It's Price Monkey here. Just doing the evening analysis for the coming day as usual. As always, my view is not to be taken as trading calls or advice for educational purposes only. Okay. Right, so if you watched my video yesterday evening, you will have seen that I was talking about the going long on the Australian dollar today against the American dollar. Okay, so what happened here? We got the move up. Unfortunately, I actually came out of this before the move became fruitful. So we got the move down into this area as I highlighted. Then what happened? So if we go down to the lower time frames, we actually started to get negative price action after I got into the move, which was these two bearing gulfs. So I decided perhaps it wasn't safe to stay in that move. I actually think that we could get a move back down to these 0.725 levels, but we'll see. If you look at the chart, you can see that price is kind of U-ing rather than heading up with conviction, although looking at the 4-hour chart, it does look like it's heading up with conviction. Looking at the 1-hour chart, there's kind of like a cup shape, if you like. So I want to see what happens at this supply area that I'm highlighting. Okay, so around the 0.7127 areas. If it breaks through there, then it's going up. If it doesn't, if it reacts, we might see a movement down to the downside, react to the area that I just pointed out. Well, let's move this box around about here, and then perhaps we'll see a move up. So we'll be converging with this trend line on the way up. We do have Australian rates at 3:30 AM. That's GMT UK time, and while we're talking about news, we do have the only other important news we have are tomorrow. It's just New Zealand, Governor Wheeler at 11:45 PM. So we've got plenty of time in between the Australian rates and the New Zealand Governor Wheeler speech. Okay, to play some trades, but like I say, we'll see what happens with the Australian rates. Perhaps we can take position tomorrow on the Australian dollar if we get low enough. In the meantime, just during the Asian session, we might see a bounce off these areas at 0.712 areas back down. But we'll see what happens. Nothing too clear with that at the moment, but it did go the way I had analysed, had planned out for. It's just a shame it didn't stay in, but these things happen. Not to worry, better safe than sorry. Right, so on to the next pair. So we talked about the pound yen yesterday night also. I did say that there was a chance that we would form new demand rather than coming down to the area that I'd pointed out, this with this orange or yellow box, whichever colour it looks on your monitor. So we did get with the new demand, and we did get the move up, the follow through. I didn't get in on this, unfortunately. It wasn't clean enough for me. I mean, if you go down to the 1-hour time frame, as I have just done, you can see how kind of wishy-washy the price action is, and also we had strong selling coming to the downside. Again, on this bar you see quite a strong bearing gulf, and then until we broke this area, only then did we see buyers taking over the market. For me to get in there, that would have meant I would have had to have quite a large stop loss. You're looking at 225 points, which isn't worth it for me to see a move up to this resistance level at 175.37. So I sat out of that one, but I think tomorrow or during the Asian session what we'll see is a reaction from the 175.39 areas back down to these levels. Let's have a look at daily. So who knows, tomorrow we might be able to get a bounce around these 172.43 areas to take a move again to the upside, but it depends whether this is the top of the market for now or not. We could see a breakthrough through these areas and a break of the channel. Looking at the weekly and daily chart, you can see that we are coming into quite some strong resistance, but we'll just act as the price unfolds, and as always I will tweet and show my analysis as it unfolds. So nothing too certain on that for the time being. Okay, so crude oil, as you can see, we've got the move down now. We've broken $33 a barrel. We're on to the upper short-term trend line. Let's just zoom out a little. So even though we've broken 33, I mean the days, we've still got 15 minutes, haven't we, until the day closes. But I think even though we have broken this $33 a barrel area, I think we will probably see another move up tomorrow. Let's move this down. So 33 is not a significant number. Now it is 32. The significant number is 30. But you can see that we've actually got resistance turn support at the 32.3 area. What I reckon we'll see tomorrow is another bounce up, probably halfway up this bearish engulfing candle for the day, and then more than likely a continuation to the move down. We're in a downtrend. There's no reason to say things are going to change yet, even no matter what comes out in the news. In my opinion, we wait for the price action to tell us rather than the news. You know, I prefer to react to these things and not try to predict them. Once we break above this $40 a barrel area, and we have fundamentals on our side, that's when I would say, you know, let's start buying oil, perhaps in the longer term. But for now, I think it's safer to keep selling. Okay, so let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see if we can get a retracement up into these 33.33 areas. In fact, getting up into this area that I've just drawn in, 33.66 to 34.05, would be great for a short. So we'd be looking at a bounce up and then movement down. Okay, stops would have to be ideally above this high. So your stop would be quite, or my stop I should say, would be quite big. Areas of possible resistance to the move would be where we are now, but we'd probably be aiming for these lows right down to 28 and holding for a while. But let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so on to gold. As you can see, gold's actually broken the bearing gulf that we had from Thursday. Okay, we didn't get the move down to this area that I'd like to see a retracement to, but I think that could still happen. I think so. Perhaps now we'll probably go straight up to the 1140 areas. Let's have a look at this on the lower time frames. So nothing on the 4 hour for me to say let's get long on this for tomorrow yet. it might be a case of going down to lower time frames to try and get on board this, so the 1 hour down to the 30-minute. So what I reckon will happen tomorrow is we'll just carry on going up, like I say, to this 1140 area, and then we'll see the retracement, and then we'll decide from there where we head with this. As I've said in the past, I think the 1140 areas and up to the 1167 areas are the areas to look to be concerned of for a long-term reversal. So depending on how price acts at these areas and how sort of violent the reaction is, could indicate the start of the longer term move down, but we will wait and see. Okay, so Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Okay, let's just zoom out for a start. It's going to be a bit messy because of all the lines I've got in from the lower time frames. So you can see we're kind of in this at the moment, this triangular consolidation on the monthly. Goes to the weekly. You can see we broke above this downtrend line on the weekly. Is that significant? Not that much really in my eyes, because we are in a consolidation in this triangle. At the moment we're acting kind of from this supply area. Let's go to daily. So looking at it on the daily, there's a chance we can either bounce up from here, from these levels, and carrying on up and hit that supply before moving down again, or we can sort of, let's go to the daily again, we can move in between these areas and then carry on moving down. We do need to break this short-term trend line before we can say whether the short-term trend is moving to the downside again. Looking at the 4 hour, we've got news out in a few hours, so it probably wouldn't be wise to take a trade on this. However, if I was going to go long, in fact the move may have already started, that would have been the perfect place, I think. 1.0837, which we've not quite touched, but and then it would just be a case of you could get two reward to 1 risk out of that. But if it happens before the news, and it means holding it while the news is on, then it's probably not worth it. Okay, so that's that. So like I say, if we break this area, potentially we could see moves down to the lower end of the trend line. The next reaction area would be, come on box tool, would be here, this box. Okay, and then again we'd want to see the price move up and break these highs around at 1.0975 to head up into the 1.1030 areas, or we'd break this box as I've just labelled and we'd carry out the range down to the lower end, 1.0574. Okay, it's that simple really. Right, so next one, FTSE. Again, sorry about all the lines. So as you can see, this area, the 6,000 area, it's acting as a good levels of support. You can see from the previous months we've closed above it each time we've tried to penetrate it. We did have a bull engulf there, which was a strong signal for perhaps some more upside movement. What's happened in the months following is we've actually broken that, which is a bearish sign, but in the meantime we are still holding above this resistance. Each monthly close has held above the resistance, which does to me say in the short term we can still see some buying coming into the market, pushing up to the upside. So in the short term there is still space for buys in my opinion. What would I like to see? So we're on the weekly at the moment. Last 2 weeks were strong moves up to the upside. Let's move to daily. Daily, you can see today we've reacted at this kind of cluster area at 6137. Okay, we've made a move down. We're on support. Let me go to this line. We're on support now at 6,000. Okay. Oh, I actually pointed this out on Twitter today. In fact, I said this would be a good area for longs at 6,000. We did get the move up. I didn't take the movement myself. I don't usually trade FTSE. So we've had the move up. We need to see now what happens if we can break this area or not, this 6,100 area. If we do, I think we will be heading up to the 6258 areas, and then we will decide from there what's going to happen. But more than likely a move back down. Okay, so we're still conforming to this trend line. We're still making higher highs and higher lows until we have made a lower low. Only then can we say that it's time to start selling on this 4-hour chart, in my opinion. Okay, that's if you're trading in 4-hour. If you're trading shorter time frames, then obviously it's a different story. Okay, so not too much really in terms of setups for tomorrow. In fact, hardly anything really. Nothing solid. But like I did point out yesterday, it's the start of the month. Traders are taking new stances on the market, and probably treading water, being more reserved as they start the month, and getting the feel for the flow. So as usual, I will be tweeting my setups tomorrow, and I will be keeping you informed. And as always, like I say, my views are not to be taken as trading calls or advice. Okay, educational purposes only. If you have come across me over YouTube, then please do subscribe if you find this information useful, and also subscribe to my Twitter feed at @price_monkey, which will keep you updated throughout the day. Okay, thanks a lot.